I absolutely hate sexual assault. I despise it. I hate the thought or the idea of trying to either touch a nigga inappropriately without their consent, or worse, the act of forcing yourself into somebody. The R word. This goes for both men and women. Even though the statistics show that men do it more than women, I'ma still come after both y'all motherfucking genders equally. I ain't favoring none of y'all over one another, cause clearly both y'all motherfuckers are lacking of self-control and composure. These two things right here are pretty much the main subtopics of sexual assault that I will be going a little in depth throughout this video. I will be separating my hatred towards sexual assault into these two main things and tell you why if you do these things, you should legally be required to get your dick removed for life. Now, here are the two categories that pretty much line up with sexual assault. Groping and R-wording. Just seeing and reading these shits just make me want to throw the fuck up. Anyways, let's start off with the groping and why I hate it. Groping is the act of touching or fondling with somebody's body for sexual pleasure non-consensually. Like, why do people act like humans are shiny gold trophies that you can look, touch, sniff, or even lick? Cause that's what y'all technically be seeing when going ahead and trying to touch a nigga. Like, I don't care how fat the woman's or man's ass is. I don't care how big the woman's or man's tits are. I don't care how pretty you think he or she is. The fact that people are trying to go out of their way to even have the thought of, ooh, she's so bad, I need to feel that nigga inappropriately, is what pisses me off. Do not even approach the person if you have thoughts about trying to feel their shit. Just turn around and walk the other way. If you have thoughts, nigga, you ugly as shit and you a bitch. But it's much worse actually doing the action, because you will be taking the initiative based off those thoughts. Although some thoughts may vary depending on what we are talking about exactly, but in this scenario, you will be judged mostly on your actions and less of your thoughts. Why do some people feel that because you have been given the ability to feel from God, you could just touch anyone as you please? I mean, like, do people now have to walk around with signs on their ass saying private property, do not touch? Like, bro, come on. Another thing I hate about groping is that it is also common for fucked up ass niggas to be touching people that are more vulnerable and less aware of what is actually going on around them, aka little kids, bruh. Those types of people need to get their dick and balls shredded the fuck off of them. Not only are you groping, but you are groping minors. Like, bro, get help, you absolute sped. One more thing I hate about groping or a nigga getting touched inappropriately, and this has to do specifically with females, by the way, is how some females are so comfortable doing it to men, whether it be they friends or a random nigga, and they would just get away with it, or people would just brush it off like what they did wasn't just sexual assault. Like, back in high school, ghetto ass females be making up these ghetto ass like holidays like Smack Ass Friday, and they be getting away with slapping a nigga's ass when he wasn't even aware or didn't ask for it. But if a man were to do it, it would cause a big scene just cause a man did it to a woman instead of a woman doing it to a man. And my point is that people gotta have the same energy, bro. And what I mean by that is, if everyone gonna get mad at a dude slapping a girl's ass, as they should, then everybody should get mad when a woman slaps a man's ass. If nobody trying to do nothing when a woman slapping a man's ass, then nobody should give a fuck that a man slaps a woman's ass. I know that's wrong because everybody should care, but like, my point is that just have the same energy, have the same reaction type shit, because a lot of the time in these sorts of scenarios, the woman would be favored over the men simply because women are women, which is a problem that I fucking despise. So yeah, for groping or touching or whatever you like to call it, if you're a man that touches a woman without consent, drink rat poison. If you're a woman that touches men without consent, hop off a cliff. Now, we finna get into the second main subtopic and why I believe that anyone that manages to go out of their way and do this to someone should legally get their glizzy yoinked. This part of the video is going to be a little more sensitive, so if you don't want to watch this part, like, you could just stop the video here. The second half of the video is going to be a little more raw and a little more sensitive, you know, not to scare y'all or anything, but I want to keep this part a little bit more raw just out of respect. And yeah, R-wording someone is such a terrible and demonic thing to do. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Some people R-word when a victim is unconscious. Like, that is honestly so fucked because of how the person isn't even aware of you being inside him/her. Like, the nigga could be asleep or knocked out from partying, and you feel like the right thing to do is to go where he or she is knocked out at and proceed to unleash yourself inside of the person without the person knowing. Like, it's honestly sad and quite irritating. Other people R-word when a victim is conscious as well, which means that they are actually aware, which is even worse because you are literally restraining the victim so they don't get out of your sight, as well as watching the victim suffer as you are penetrating him or her. Like, shit's really fucked up. Like, how can anyone in their right mind just go ahead and do some bullshit like that? That shit blows me. Like, just cause your brain is fucked doesn't mean people's insides should be fucked. Like on legghh, people that R-word just be doing shit on impulse and don't actually think about the negative outcomes on the victims after trying to potentially do such action. They don't want to put themselves in the victim's shoes. They don't acknowledge the sort of trauma that it can cause victims to have. I have a friend, right? I have a friend that is very dearest to me, that has gone through both of the topics we discussed. And I cannot even begin to imagine the sort of shit she had to deal with mentally when it came to her experiences. I remember her calling me when it happened, and I heard the pain in her voice, bro. Like, I cannot even begin to comprehend the way she was feeling. Like, all you could do when you have a loved one in that situation is to support them, and be by their side as they heal from the traumatic event. And from there, that will ultimately make the person stronger, as there are people in their environment to aid a person into recovery. So yeah, when it comes to R-wording, and this isn't a joke, by the way, I feel like there should be a law that if you R-word someone, no matter if you were drunk or sober, to have your penis surgically amputated. No questions asked. You do not deserve to be able to feel pleasure anymore. I was originally going to say that if you R-word someone, a jailmate is legally required to fuck you in the ass, or that some sort of government penetration device nails the fuck out of you, but there is that chance that the nigga might actually end up liking that shit, cause you got a bunch of gay ass rapists. So I think it's just better that your glizzy gets ripped the fuck off to alleviate any potential way of you feeling pleasure. In the end, if you do sexually assault anyone of any kind, fuck yourself. And for anyone that's been through a traumatic experience involving any of that, don't worry, it'll get better, and time heals all wounds, even though some wounds leave the nastiest scars. Juice WRLD reference. But yeah, that's all I got, bro. New vid next week. Break a leg.